Well, good morning. Have you ever been in a season of life where life just seemed to make sense? Everything is rolling on, you're comfortable, nothing's really standing in the way. You've kind of just gotten in this rhythm of life, and you're okay with that. That was me not very long ago. For more than 10 years, though, I've carried this call into ministry. And about a year and a half ago, I began training for that calling in a new way. I started participating in our leadership training here at Fearless Church. I began sharpening my skills and learning how to lead in the church, essentially doing whatever I could do to prepare myself for whenever God opened the door to full-time ministry. Now, even with that, I never knew really exactly when that door was going to open. And honestly, I was okay. I wasn't in a hurry. Life was already full. Some of you in the room may know that my wife and I are foster parents. And if you've ever been down the foster parent road before, you'll know that it's really anything but predictable. One call can change your week. I'm kidding, it could change your entire life. And in the midst of this new thing happening in my life, something huge was taking place, something incredible. The adoption of a little girl that we had been raising and loving since she was 9 months old. Now, the paperwork and the meetings, the home visits, all of the emotions that come with that were very real. Our hearts continued to be full. Our schedules continued to be packed. My plate, as it was packed to the edges, and I was content with staying there. But God made it clear to me. It was time. The opportunity to become the campus pastor came right smack dab in the middle of our adoption process. Two life-altering callings, ministry and family, were converging at the same exact time. Don't get me wrong, I was very excited to do this. This is something, again, I've been carrying along with me for 10 years. So when it started to come to be a reality, I was very excited. But I was also exhausted. We have an almost 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. Sleep comes at a premium. I remember lying in bed one night, just wrestling with God, thinking, okay, well, on one side of this, Lord, I've got this adoption process of our little girl. Every hope, every dream, every prayer for her future, weighing heavy on me as the father. And then on this other side, something that I have been dreaming and praying about for over 10 years was coming into my life of ministry. And then tossing somewhere in the mix the reality of leaving my career, somewhere where I was secure, somewhere where I had climbed from the bottom and I had a bright future. Family, though, remained my priority, no question. But I couldn't turn a blind eye to this call into ministry. It was still pressing upon my heart every night. But then, just last week, as the judge swung his gavel down, he said, from this day forward, she will be known as Isabella Penn. Thank you. Thank you. And that was incredible. That moment there will be forever etched in my heart and on my brain. I can't ever leave that moment behind. She is part of me now, as if she wasn't before. But now she has a new name, a new chapter, and a new future. And looking back, I can see exactly what God was doing. He wasn't just calling me into taking a new step in my family or taking new ground in ministry. He was calling me to take new ground in my own faith. Because I had to have faith to trust in Him. Faith to trust in His timing. Faith to trust in Him in a future that I can't see yet. Now, don't get me wrong, there are moments now as a campus pastor where I think that the moment's too huge for me. I can't possibly do this on my own, I think. And that's true, but it's not because I ever doubted His call. He's pressed this upon me, and I'm firm in the call. But I understand the responsibility and the weight that He's calling me to. And I ask myself, when I'm laying there at night, when I'm praying to Him, Lord, am I really the leader for this? And yet, in every step, he's been faithful. In just 40-something days of doing this, he has strengthened me, he's equipped me, he's guided my decisions. He's truly grown me into who I'm becoming. And what's clear to me now is this. It's not just a calling for myself. He wasn't just calling me to take new ground in my faith for me. He was calling me to lead an entire movement, a church family, to take new ground together. Because in reality, the story that I shared with you, the back and forth of my own brain, it's not just about me. And it's not just about you either. It's about us. It's about us as a church family taking this new ground together. It's about stepping out and taking the new ground that God has called us to take. God's vision of this multi-multiplication movement is going to come alive through our faithfulness. And maybe you're standing at a crossroads in your own walk, in your own faith, in your own life, and thinking about where God has led you before and where he's leading you to now in the future. That's where we are as a church family. God is calling us forward. He's calling us into a season where, like myself, can't see the future yet. He's asking us to take new ground, not just as individuals running our own races, but together, moving together as a church body. Now, if you were with us 2 weeks ago, Pastor Chris opened this Take New Ground series. And when he did, he introduced us to 3 groups that you'll find in just about every church in America every 3 weeks. We have our consumers, our contributors, and our commandos. Our consumers, though, they're committed to show up. Every Sunday, every training, they're here. And that matters. That truly does matter because, let's be frank, church would look a little weird if we were all contributors and commandos. If we were only contributors and commandos, no one would be out there. We'd have 12 guitar players, 4 drum kits on stage. We'd have 20 people out in the parking lot directing traffic. We might have 8 adults in every kids' ministry room leading those kids. Christy, that might not be a bad idea. But the point that I'm trying to make is that being a consumer, it matters. It brings value. But if you consider yourself a contributor, you'd say, yeah, I show up and I'm committed. I serve regularly. Chris shared that we have about 400 individuals that show up and serve once a month or more. 400. That sounds like a very large number. It is a large number. But it's not enough. That's the crazy part. And then we have someone called our commandos. Not only are they committed to show up and committed to serve, but they serve sacrificially. Our commandos, they show up and they serve the sacrificial way. They're the ones in the room that we believe are going to say something like, yep, I'm going. I know it's going to be hard, and it's going to be a sacrifice, but the key is, through that, it will be so worth it. When we talk to individuals, when we talk to the church, when we talk about small groups, when we discuss having you go serve in Riverside, you're going to have the understanding that you're going to have to reorient some things in your life. Some things are going to have to change because some things are going to look very different. Not everyone here is going to go, so the familiar faces you see every Sunday, you may not see. And like majority of the people in this room, Riverside's going to be a longer commute for you. It's going to require more of you. There's more commitment. Serving week in and week out. Not just maybe once a month. In some situations, you'll be asked to serve every week. And I know what some of you are probably thinking in the crowd. I'm kind of thinking it myself. I don't really look like a commando, Alex. I mean, I might be working on my biceps a little bit, but me and Arnold have some work to do together. So even if you think that you don't look like a commando, I want to tell you that you are a commando in a different sense. You are on mission, especially if you consider yourself an all-in member here at Fearless Church. If you're consuming already and you're here every week in and week out, you're contributing, maybe you are what we're calling a commando, you are on mission. Because here at Fearless Church, our mission is we want to be fearless followers of Jesus who change the world. We need people to step up and make an impact. And you might think, but the ones that are going to go to Riverside, the ones that are going to go and do that, those are probably going to be the pastors, probably some of the elders, the people that, are really secure in the word and they can just share it like that with anybody. But to be honest with you, that's not it. It's not just those individuals. It's our greeters at the door, welcoming people in with a warm hug and a warm smile. It's our ushers that are able to take people to seats when the room looks like this. It's our Connection Center volunteers that can answer your questions, help you plug in, get you to know what your next step is. It's our kids ministry teachers who are able to take the word of God and the gospel to kids that I know I can't do. It's our tech volunteers in the back that make sure that every lyric that you sing, every scripture that you read is seen by everyone. It's our hospitality team members that when people are walking through the lobby and not knowing where to go, that they can point you in the right direction. They make sure that you feel right at home. If we don't step into these roles, there are people that may never find a place where they can call home, or maybe find a place where it's open to exploration, where they can find out more about what it looks like to follow Jesus, and then maybe even make the decision to surrender their life and follow Christ. You may not even be aware of this, but every time you walk through the lobby, every Sunday, you walk right over this quote. We refuse to shrink back from God's call to boldly take the gospel to the people and places where no one else wants to go. Our vision is to initiate a mighty multiplication movement of God where we become disciples who make disciples, working together to be a church who starts churches, both across the street and around the world. Across the street, Riverside's not that far. If we're going to live this out, then we can't stay where we are. Now, I'm laying it on pretty thick. I get that. But there is a time and a place to be a consumer. So I want you to take that and take a breath. Like, if you're in this season, it's okay. Like, you have a time and place to be a consumer. If we didn't have a room full, that means there's no consumers. But now we were packing the room full of each of these. But even if you're just not just a contributor, that sounds worse. If you are a contributor, thank you. When you contribute, you're contributing to God's mission. But we can't stay just contributors, because eventually we'll run aground, we'll stall out, and we won't advance. We need the commandos. And here's the thing. This isn't just some idea that we came up in a planning meeting. This is God's design for his church. From the very beginning, he's been building a body and that every single part matters. Every single part is connected. And every single part is part of the mission. Paul talks about this in Ephesians chapter 4. Verse 16, he says, he makes the whole body fit together perfectly. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow, so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. I love how Paul paints this picture as the church of a living, breathing body. And like any body, it only works as effectively as every part is working. It all starts, though, with the first two words. He makes. This isn't just our idea. It's not just our strategy. The church is made and put together and held together by Jesus. He is the source. He is the builder. He is the head of the body. Everything comes from him and flows through him. And Paul says, the whole body fit together perfectly. That means that every connection, every relationship, every conversation that you have that builds up or strengthens another individual is all placed there by precision by God. And in a healthy body, all of those connections are active and thriving. And then in an unhealthy body, those connections are weakened, and the whole body then begins to suffer. Now comes the part that hits home. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow. The growth of the church isn't just about the pastors or the elders or a few hyper-committed volunteers. It's about every single part, every single person doing their unique God-given work. And lastly, in that verse, we see, so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. When one part grows, when the arm grows, the other arm grows, the leg grows, the whole body grows when you grow. Because we talk about this each week. When you take new ground, we take new ground. When you step up to serve, something begins to change. Serving is the ground where God shapes us, strengthens us, and stretches us, and grows us towards fulfilling his mission. You see, serving isn't just about stepping into a role or filling a need. Every act of service is moving that mission forward. Serving is about stepping into the place that God specifically designed you to fill within his body. And when you do that, when you put your gift into action, your faith, it grows, but more importantly, your trust in him grows. That future we can't see, we trust that he's ahead of us. He's gone before us. When you take new ground, we take new ground. But when you serve, you grow. And when you grow, we grow. It's not just about doing your own individual thing. It's about how can I play a role in serving others and serving the church and achieving God's mission. Because if I start to take new ground, then you can take new ground as a church. And we've seen it time and time again. When you begin to serve and start to take new ground, God uses it to transform not just your life, but he uses it to transform the church. In fact, we have an all-in member here at Fearless Church who's done just that. Chris stepped out to serve, and God used it to change more than just Chris's Sundays. Let's hear from him.
I started serving because Fearless has done so much for me in my own personal faith journey. And I knew it was time for me to share those blessings back with my brothers and sisters. That was my plan. But God's plan is always much bigger than my plan. And in just a short time of serving, I've built relationships that are going to last a lifetime. And I built those relationships because I'm not doing it alone. When I'm serving as part of a bigger team. And now it's offered me a chance to help other people connect together. And that's really awesome, seeing that love flow downstream and those small efforts just multiply downstream. And it taught me that it affects everybody. When we serve, we thrive as a church family. And the secret of serving is that when we serve, we don't just give, we grow, we build, we get stronger together, and we get back a lot more than we put in. And that's just the kind of God we serve. We pour ourselves out, and he fills us back up more than we had before so that we can spill it out onto others with things like acts of serving. And those small acts can really change lives. I know they can because I'm one of the lives that they've changed.
When Chris served, Chris had the opportunity to grow. And in return, we grew. Paul's telling us that the mission moves forward when each part takes its place and is responsible for their part. That's God's design for his church. That's how his church thrives. So what group do you find yourself in? Are you a consumer? Are you saying, yeah, I show up every Sunday. Every training, I'm here. I'm telling you, that does matter. I'm glad that you're here. Do you find yourself being a contributor where you're committed and you serve regularly? Thank you. We won't survive without you. Or are you already in this commando group where, yeah, I'm serving and I'm serving sacrificially, but I'm already looking for how I can contribute next, what my next step is. How can I take new ground? And then maybe there's the individuals in the room that are looking at this list and they say, Alex, I'm not even a consumer. I'm just here because my neighbor invited me. I don't even know about this whole Jesus thing that you're talking about. How can I contribute and how can I sacrifice if I don't know what I'm doing it for? I'm glad you're here. My suggestion, my encouragement, if you're that individual, is to start being a consumer. Show up. Come back regularly. Don't even do it here. Find another church that suits you, that preaches the Bible. But if you did find yourself in this list, if you identify as one of these groups, I want to let you know that my message this morning, it may be thick, it may be heavy, but I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm trying to show you that there's room for growth. Everyone has room for growth. That's what this is. So no matter where you start, the goal is to move forward. Consumers become contributors and contributors become commandos. And then those commandos that are in the room, you're like Arnold and looking for that next hill to take. God bless you. Because here's the thing. If you stay where you're at, you might miss out on the joy that God has for you in that next step. And then the reality is, those people that were called to go reach, they very well could miss out on that joy as well. Remember what you've already seen time and time again throughout this series. When you take new ground, we take new ground. And when you serve, you grow. And when you grow, we grow. I'm asking you today to not settle for just a seat in the auditorium. Don't watch this mission unfold before your eyes and all around you. Don't leave it to the church staff or the elders or the highly committed volunteers to do all of the heavy lifting. God has wired you and gifted you and put you here in this room for such a time as this. And maybe for you, the next step is simple. You commit to coming. You commit to show up. You sign up for our training environments, our events. Maybe you're already serving, and the next step is to find some place where I'm not serving in a comfortable way, because when God calls you to serve in some of those ways, that's where he's growing you the most. Maybe you're already doing that. Well, then you're probably one of the commandos in the room that says, yep, send me. Because I know it's going to be a sacrifice, but it's going to be worth it. So my question to you, though, is what is your next step? Where did you find yourself in there? Is it the small steps? Is it what seems like the big step in the room? Find out for yourself. Spend some time with the Lord this week. Last week, Brian preached about what biblical community looks like. And he said that biblical community is not about perfection. It's about presence. Because if you're looking for the best and perfect community group, you're not going to find it. It's about showing others that you value them more than yourself. It's about taking time out of your busy life to love and support others in life. I want to tell you that serving is not all that different. Whether you decide to serve here at the Centerville campus or serve at the Riverside campus, we're not looking for nor asking for perfection. But we are asking for your presence. We're asking you to faithfully come with your heart, come with your willing hands. We're asking you to prayerfully consider to take time out of your busy life, just as community does, to serve those around you, to show them that you value them more than yourself. Because the truth is when you move into that, the church has an opportunity to move. Every act of service matters. Every step of faith matters. Every person that says yes strengthens the body and advances the mission forward. Now, I know it's not always easy. Stepping out of your comfort, it feels risky. Stepping into new responsibilities feels uncertain. I've been there. I am there. But maybe it's a small step. Maybe it's a big step. At least it's a step. And when we all take a step together, the church is able to advance. So let's not settle for comfort. Let's not settle for the status quo. Let the church take a step forward. Because we at Fearless Church, get there. Refuse to shrink back from God's call to boldly take the gospel to the people and places where no one wants to go. What's that saying? When we take new ground, when you take new ground, the whole church takes new ground. Because when you serve, you grow. And when you grow, we grow. When you go to sleep tonight, you'll be saying that. And that's not just a catchy phrase. It's how Christ works within the church. Again, Ephesians chapter 4 says, he makes the whole body fit together perfectly, as each part does its own special work. It helps other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. Let's be the church that steps forward, that moves as one body to take new ground for the glory of God. Because another way to look at that verse is in my own translation, the whole body, the church, this whole room, these four walls, the big building, outside of this building, the big C church, grows and builds itself up when each part, you, and I'm not just talking you generically, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you and you. And I'm actually pointing at people. That means that every single one of us matters. Imagine what will happen when we step fully into that. Imagine that this campus continues to thrive because those that do say, hey, I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to step up and I'm going to serve, and this campus continues to thrive. Imagine the campus church that starts out with strength because those commandos in the room stepped up and said, yep, I'm going to go. I'm going to commit to a season because I believe in this. I believe that God's calling me to help move the mission forward there. Imagine what we can do there. Imagine the families reached, the lives changed, the marriages restored, the souls saved for eternity. And this could all happen because you decided to play a role, because the church moved forward together. You're not going to want to miss out on this. I can promise you that. Like, the bus is here and we're getting on. Are you coming? If now is the time that you're saying, I can serve, or it's time for me to take new ground, I want to challenge you to come back next week. During our 11 o'clock service, we're going to have Exploring Serving. It's going to be in the base camp, which is the room right behind this one. There you'll hear from the key individuals in different areas of our church and how you can plug in and serve right here at the Centerville campus. And then later on that day, back right in here inside this room at 4 o'clock, we're going to have our Fearless Riverside kickoff event. This is going to answer all of those questions that you've been asking. I thought it was me. It's going to answer all of the questions that you might have been having, that you've been coming up and asking. Now, if you're in the room today and you say, Alex, I've already made my decision, like, God's not calling me to Riverside, so it's not important. I want to argue against that. It is important. Because Fearless Church Centerville and then Riverside are still unified by Fearless Church. We are the Fearless Church family. If you're a guest with us in the room, what a fun thing to be coming in on. Ground floor. But if you are coming, and if I'm asking to pack this room out, and I'm not kidding, I want every seat full. If we're asking you to do that, that's a commitment, and people are already going to ask, well, what about my kids? Bring them. Don't worry, you don't have to bring them in this room. We have childcare that we're planning for this event. But what you need to do is you have to register because we could staff it accordingly. Now, if you're also in the room, and I'm not just talking to just get information, there's going to be opportunities, if you do decide to stay here, that we're going to need your help setting up Riverside. So not just for information, but there's other opportunities for you to serve and not necessarily be part of the launch team. So before you go, though, before you head out to lunch, before you head home, I want you to pull out the Church Center app or go to BeFearless.org, find these two events, Exploring Fearless and the Fearless Riverside Kickoff event, and register you and your family. This is a huge moment in the life of our church. And I don't want you guys to miss out. I want you to be a part of it. Let's be the church that moves forward. Let's be the church that says, I'm in. Let's trade our comfort for our calling. Let's trade our familiarity for more faith. Let the mundane go. Let's pray.